Welcome to InfoHub Recap. We look back at the past week's main issues. In our headlines, the countdown to first oil is officially underway. Cuba's Vice Foreign Minister concluded a two-day state visit. First youth explosion held in Region 3. Construction contract signed for Guyana's first hinterland green enterprise development center. First set of elevators start being installed at the Providence overpass. It is time to avoid the use of single-use plastics. And in Diamond, it is not very shiny yet bright for one householder and several of his neighbors. These stories and much more in this week's InfoHub Recap. Here are the details. First, we tell you that Minister of State Joseph Harmon last Saturday hosted an open discussion with youths of the Essequibo Islands West Demerara region. Participants were able to seek clarity on regional and countrywide social issues. Crystal Stahl has more.
After a number of plenary sessions and discussions in groups on issues affecting their communities, youths took the opportunity to voice their opinions.
The youth need a better education system overall because education is key to everything, and Guyana is opening up to a lot of things that require education. Having the minister here today, I feel as if there is a new ray of hope coming.
Carrier resident Ms. Debbie Fernandez cited the need for counseling services in her village.
Sometimes our youth feel like, as youths, I used to feel that way, like left out. Like, like nobody cares or what. Our youths want that help from people that could really take things in them.
Encouraging the young people to make the most of the youth explosion, Minister Harmon promised to take the stories told during the discussions back to the cabinet.
We want to take our message back to the various levels of government so that we can provide for you that quality of life, that good life.
Youth Explosion was held under the theme Unblocking Our Minds, Releasing Our Potential. This is the first of a series of similar events planned by the Ministry of the Presidency. Crystal Stahl for InfoHub.
Following the last local government elections in 2016, several young persons were elected to various municipal and NDC posts, most notably the 19-year-old deputy mayor in Lethem. Now, Minister Ronald Bulkan is urging more youths to see LGE more than just a vote and get involved. Renetta Lafleur joins us.
Minister Bulkan issued the call at the launch of the Government Public Awareness and Stakeholders Education Project in the Parliament Buildings compound. He said the energy and ideas of young people are integral to re-energizing the local government system.
I'd like to add my own voice to that of Jamal and to encourage you not only to cast your vote at these elections, but to do as he did and to get involved in the management of your communities. This is an excellent opportunity for you to sharpen your leadership skills.
The minister noted that local government organs play a critical role in the national development. Hence, the government is investing heavily into this vision.
As a government, we embrace that view that decisions should be made as closely as possible to the people it affects. And we believe that once provided with the necessary support and resources, that people are capable of governing themselves. We hold the view that the rate of our development as a country is dependent on the rate in which our communities, towns, villages, and regions develop.
Local government elections have been held after a 23-year absence under the previous administration. 8 new NDCs and 1 new township will participate in the upcoming election. Renetta Lafleur for InfoHub.
Minister Harmon also got a first-hand look on Monday at the KSM Investments, an innovative company which is embracing the government's push towards a green economy.
The KSM Investments Inc. concrete products factory on the east coast of Demerara is a multi-million-dollar company that uses state-of-the-art technology to produce concrete products including blocks, pavers, and curbstones. The company is offering to train government engineers in the quest to build stronger and longer-lasting infrastructure. Owner Mahadio Panchu explained that all must prepare for climate change.
The day of global warming, climate change, superstorms, we're told now, these are things that we have to preempt. These are things that are definitely going to happen sometime or the other. And we must ask ourselves if our infrastructure are designed to withstand the vagaries of the weather. We are willing to host the engineers, 1 session, 2 sessions, 10 sessions. I don't have a problem. We can take them on. Let them come, let them sit with us, and we are willing to work with government and government agencies and all state-affiliated agencies in the execution of projects, in the designing of projects, and so on.
Minister of State Joseph Harmon commended the company. He noted once there is proper infrastructure, citizens will benefit in the long run, and this is what the coalition government aims to provide.
Public infrastructure, if it is not done properly, the people of the country, they're shortchanged because the roads, the drains, the dams, the culverts, they do not stand up for any length of time. So I believe that if we were to get good quality product, a good quality product, and that we insist on these standards, that what we will find is that these public infrastructure projects will benefit the people of Guyana in a better way.
Minister Harmon added that more persons should embrace local products, as this will also boost the economy. Zanil Williams for Info Hub.
The Ministries of Education and Public Health have come together to offer a one-of-a-kind service for students with special education needs. Alexis Rodney tells us that for the first time locally and in the Caribbean, students with special education needs will be part of a focused system to prepare them for the world of work.
This has been made possible through the establishment of the Center to Stimulate the Development of Children, Adolescent and Youth with Special Education at the CPC Turkan campus. The center, to be opened in September, will be utilized to diagnose, treat and train health and education practitioners to help students with special education needs. The first batch of trainees graduated today at NSERD. Minister of Education Nicolette Henry said the establishment of the center fits into the ministry's policy of offering the best education to children with special needs.
A national push to take students with disabilities out of isolation means that most students with special education needs now spend the majority of their days in general education classrooms rather than in special separate classes.
The 3-month session was undertaken by the government of Cuba and offered training in psychology, physiology, occupational therapy, and speech therapy, among others. Cuba's ambassador to Guyana, Mr. Narciso Socorro, said his government remains committed to Guyana's special education needs.
The training was a multidisciplinary team for the evaluation and diagnosis of children in Guyana, the diagnosis and treatment of some children with special educational needs in the temporary place of work. At present, the diagnostic process is projected to begin in the first special school based on the condition created with the opening of the center.
I must be seen and must be heard. As a child, I too have a word. Don't regard me because I'm say good words, I don't have to frown. I have a future ahead of me. Just keep on looking and you will see.
Reporting for InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
A $130 million contract was signed for the construction of Guyana's first hinterland green enterprise development center. Renata joins us again.
The Green Enterprise Center's main objective is to stimulate economic growth by creating and supporting innovative leaders with the knowledge to lead businesses in the hinterland whilst driving upstream demand for local products and services. Minister Sidney Allicock explained that the project is in keeping with President David Granger's Green State Development Agenda.
Our overarching goal, support Guyana's transition to a green economy by leading indigenous and traditional knowledge to develop and document sustainable business practices for application in enterprises across Guyana.
Located in the geographic space of the Bina Hill Institute Anai, the 2-story concrete and wooden structure will comprise 8 classrooms, a modern computer and science laboratory, and a large auditorium and lecture room. Permanent Secretary Alfred King warned the contractor against shoddy work and untimely delivery of the project.
We expect the contractor to deliver the project within time and in keeping with the scope and cost of the contract. You would have heard from the Minister, we would not take any shabby work, so we expect quality and value for money.
The project is expected to be completed within 12 months with a defects liability period of 6 months. The official commencement date is June 22nd. The Green Center is a flagship initiative that will accommodate 120 students from Regions 1, 7, 8, 9, and 10. The students will pursue a 2-year hands-on course in enterprise design and startup management, sustainability, and leadership, coupled with access to business support services. Renetta LaFleur for InfoHub.
On Tuesday, University of Guyana Vice-Chancellor Professor Ivelaw Griffith lauded the hands-off approach of the current administration in allowing the free day-to-day running of the institution. Details from Alexis Rodney.
The Vice-Chancellor has been at the helm of the country's premier tertiary institution for the past 2 years. He said since taking up that position, there has not been any attempt to curtail his work or that of the university by the government, something that had shaped the university for decades. He was speaking at his second media luncheon at the Hermanson Lodge today.
As an indication of an achievement, sometimes you've got to ask not what has been done, but you've got to also be conscious of what has not been done. I, as Vice Chancellor, have never had a government minister or the president or any PS tell me who to hire, who to admit, who to graduate, who to give a contract to, who to give a scholarship to.
He said that is a testimony to the recognition by the current administration.
The practicing business as usual is not in the best interest of the university or the society. So that for me is a signally important achievement.
A governance task force had already decided that there be no special or partisan interest represented on the university's council. Alexis Rodney reporting for InfoHub.
In observance of Men's Health Week, the Department of Education in Region 3 hosted a health seminar for male teachers in the region.
The men learned about a holistic, healthy lifestyle and were given free medical checkups at the end of the sessions. Topics covered focused on the prevention and control of diseases as well as the importance of having their prostate checked for cancer. This aspect of the seminar was facilitated by Coordinator of the Ministry of Public Health's Men's Health Unit, Dr. Dennis Basir.
About 15% of men with a PSA below 4 will have prostate cancer on biopsy. The level is borderline with range between 4 and 10 and have about 1 in 4 chance of having prostate cancer. And if your level is more than 10, the chance of having prostate cancer is over 50%. Now, some of the things that can actually increase this level, this is not a diagnostic test, as in if it is high, it doesn't say that you have prostate cancer. It just says that something is going on with your prostate. Basically, our pillar when it comes to prostate cancer discussion in Guyana is a profile of cancer in Guyana, 2003-2012, by Dr. Morris Edwards, for which he found there was 865 cases, for a cumulative incidence of 115 per 100,000.
Dr. Basir shared that the key to knowing whether a man has prostate cancer or not is to confront myths about the conceptions and make their health a priority. Regional Health Officer Nesta Douglas said the event was timely since male teachers could educate those under their stewardship.
We feel good health is vital for a happy and full life, not only for our male teachers, but we feel if you're having good health, you will be able to give to the learners under your charge what is expected of you.
Crystal Stahl for InfoHub.
March 2020. That is the date when Guyana will see the first barrel of oil. Tiffany Rodius tells us more.
Guyana celebrated an indelible step towards its future as ExxonMobil and ministers of government toasted to the commencement of Liza Phase 1 development drilling.
Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman said the reception marked the official start of the countdown towards first oil.
Guyana has waited 50+ years to remove the negative labels such as third world, backward, underdeveloped, and developing. With the blessings that have been revealed and are now within our grasp, we purpose to develop a modern, peaceful, and cohesive state, one in which every man, every woman, and every child, without exception, without reservation, and/or without any form of discrimination, is able to enjoy the full and equal benefits of the bounty we are about to be bestowed.
Vice President of ExxonMobil Development Company, Lisa Waters, noted that the rapid progression to first oil has been extremely successful.
We're on track for first oil in March of 2020. You know, we're committed to working together for the long term, and we continue to look forward to working together with the people and government of Guyana.
Exxon and its partners have begun drilling the 17 wells that will produce Guyana's oil. The floating production, storage, and offloading FPSO vessel, Liza Destiny, is currently being retrofitted in Singapore, and contracts for the subsea equipment have been given out, Waters noted. Minister of Business Dominic Gaskin noted Guyanese remain hopeful about Guyana's oil future and commended the valuable partnership between the government and Exxon.
So far, I believe it has been working well. I think 3 years from discovery to development is very short by industry standards. And 5 years from discovery to production is also extremely short by industry standards.
The Liza Destiny FPSO will have a production capacity of 120,000 barrels of oil per day when production begins.
With videographer Leon Leung, I'm Tiffany Rojas for InfoHub.
On Wednesday, the first set of elevators started being installed at the Providence Overpass. Here is InfoHub's infrastructure specialist, Renetta LaFleur.
The elevators will make access for senior citizens, persons with disabilities, and pregnant women much easier. Project Manager acting for Donor Program at the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Mark Green.
So the elevators, they're a screw drive system, so they don't have those cables of normal elevators, which is a simplified system that's more robust. They're also built for the outdoor environment, so they're waterproof. They have a canopy to shade them. They're open in that they have glazed glass so that persons can feel comfortable. You can comfortably enter it and exit. If something happens, you know, someone can see you from outside. They also have LED lighting within the elevators.
Trinidad company RBP Lifts Limited is installing the elevators with RM Engineering overseeing the process. RM Engineering Director Rashid Mohammed said the project is on schedule.
Scope of work involves pile foundations, structural steel superstructures, and signage together with elevators. All structural steel aspects, foundations, etc. are completed. The remainder of the works now is basically the installation of the elevators.
The cost for supply and installation of each elevator is US $61,000. All installations are expected to be completed by August. From the pedestrian overpass at Providence, with videographer Kareem Peters, Renetta LaFleur for InfoHub.
Bedford-Wacting secondary students were encouraged by First Lady Sandra Granger to embrace the opportunities STEM programs present.
The First Lady told the students that they are living in the fourth industrial revolution. Therefore, relevant knowledge in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM, will be a vital tool in the future.
Robots are going to be doing 60% of the jobs in the near future, and 70% of our jobs will require knowledge of computer science. I read, I think it was a UNIFEM report the other day, that said women's jobs, 90% of the jobs done by women will become obsolete. So particularly for the young ladies in this group, I would like to encourage you to start looking at STEM.
The students were reminded by the First Lady that their future lies in their hands and they must be prepared to face challenges head-on.
You also have to know when something is not in your favor, to sense it and be brave enough to swim against the tide. Because ultimately, you are your future. You make your future. And the bonds that you form in school and in your work environment are the ones that would help you, but at the same time, you have to keep learning and learning all the time.
The use of STEM programs and initiatives is rapidly increasing, led by First Lady Sandra Granger through a number of robotics workshops countrywide for students. Isaiah Braffett, InfoHub.
In solidarity with students, members of the Guyana Police Force and employees of the Ministry of Social Protection led a march and rally against child labor.
Minister within the Ministry of Social Protection, Keith Scott, urged the participants to become their brothers and sisters' keepers and help eradicate child labor.
You, therefore, must see yourselves not only as the future leaders, but as the persons who are now today and as of today onwards are tasked with the responsibility to help in the fight to eradicate child labor. You are also tasked with the responsibility of being your brothers and your sisters' keeper.
Assistant Chief Labor Officer of the Ministry of Social Protection, Karen Van Slytman Corbin, shared the objective of the march.
The objective of the walk is to highlight the plight of children engaged in child labor and to show that the Ministry of Social Protection, by extension the government of Guyana, says no to child labor. We are committed to stamping it out from our landscape, from our country.
St. Winifred Secondary School pupil Liana Peters shared her views.
I decided to join this walk because I think that child labor is wrong, and letting a child work instead of going to school is just not the ideal thing.
The government remains committed to its promise of eradicating child labor by 2025. World Day Against Child Labor was observed under the theme, Generation Safe and Healthy, End Child Labor. Alexis Rodney for InfoHub.
Cuba's Vice Foreign Minister Rogelio Sierra Diaz wrapped up his two-day state visit to Guyana on Wednesday evening. The Cuban minister said the relationship between the two countries remains positive. Stacey Carmichael has the details.
Cuba's Vice Foreign Minister Rogelio Sierra Diaz said the relationship between his country and Guyana has matured over the 45 years and is characterized by mutual respect and trust. Through his interpreter Diana Moray during an exclusive interview with the Department of Public Information on Wednesday, Diaz hailed Guyana as one of the Caribbean countries with which Cuba enjoys the highest level of cooperation.
This is also a long-standing cooperation because the first Cuban doctors arrived in Guyana 43 years ago. And so we can also say that it is one of the oldest cooperations that Cuba has with any other nations.
The Cuba-Guyana Medical Relations, the Vice Foreign Minister said, plays an important role in the further strengthening of ties between the two countries.
These are an important force for the health services in Guyana. I believe that Cuban medical cooperation is important, which contributes to the country and which is susceptible to improvement in regards with efficiency, and which is also to be broadened in the future of the relations between the two countries.
During his official visit, Diaz met with President David Granger, Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, and officials from the Public Health Ministry, where Cuba's disposition of providing support as far as possible was restated. Diplomatic relations between Guyana and Cuba were established on December 8, 1972. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
Meanwhile, President David Granger also accepted an invitation to visit Cuba following a meeting with the country's Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs on Wednesday. A date for the visit is still to be determined, according to the Ministry of the Presidency in a statement. The top Cuban official recommitted to enhancing relations between Guyana and Cuba through increased collaboration and cooperation in areas such as health, environmental conservation, disaster management, and tourism. On Thursday, the Department of Environment called on citizens to choose eco-friendly alternatives to single-use plastics as government embarks on a public awareness campaign in preparation for the ban on single-use plastics. Here are the details.
Statistics from the Mayor and City Council show that as much as 10,000 tons of single-use plastics is taken to the Hags-Bosch landfill annually. 10% of, or some 1,000 tons, comes from Georgetown alone. In light of this, the Department of Environment is proposing eco-friendly alternatives to single-use plastics such as cloth bags, bamboo utensils, and paper containers. This comes as Guyana gears up to phase out the use of single-use items in 3 years as part of its commitment to a greener planet and in keeping with the Green State Development Strategy. Stakeholder Management Coordinator, Department of Environment, Aretha Ford.
To take this discussion to the municipal markets, because what we found is that when a fee is imposed on the plastic bags, the persons who shop in the supermarkets can afford to pay that fee. And so we also need to target the persons who do not shop at the supermarkets. Of course, there is the proposed ban on single-use plastic products, and we do expect your full support, not only in saying that yes, there should be a ban on single-use plastics, but also as individuals and organizations to institute policies and to take individual and household actions.
Head of the department, Ndb Schweers, emphasized the need to have awareness sessions at the school level.
We need to then involve them when we are making serious decisions like these for the country. The next thing is, and I'm quite sure that you probably heard of it this morning, I don't know, but we are proud to say that the country has now joined the global alliance or the global campaign on oceans. This, in my opinion, demonstrates the seriousness of the government to not only protecting the environment, but to also ensuring that single-use plastics and the use of single-use plastics in this country becomes a thing of the past.
Plastic pollution is threatening our ecosystem, biodiversity and health at a pace and scale never seen before. This has led to the government's move to eliminate their use. The proposed phasing out will be imposed on the importation, manufacture and sale of single-use plastic bags and other single-use plastic products, such as food containers. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
Later that evening, President David Granger reaffirmed that the United Kingdom remains a strategic partner and sounded the government's appreciation for its support for Guyana's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Details from Stacey Carmichael.
President David Granger last evening at a reception held in celebration of Queen Elizabeth II's 92nd birth anniversary expressed confidence that the strong ties which exist between the two states will be strengthened in the years ahead. He also expressed gratitude for the UK's support in debt relief and for the anticipated benefits under the UK Caribbean Infrastructure Fund.
The UK, through the Department of International Development, has provided assistance to Guyana in the fields of agriculture, aquaculture, disaster relief, education, economic competitiveness, governance, law enforcement, trade facilitation, water supply, judicial service reform, public sector reform, and, as you heard, security sector reform.
The President said that the Queen is held in high esteem by the Commonwealth and reiterated Guyana's commitment to the Queen's Commonwealth canopy. British High Commissioner Greg Quinn said apart from security sector reform, much more will be done this year.
Significant UK funds are being committed to the security area, but also to broader development areas. That includes over £2 million of UK assistance last year in areas such as Chevening scholarships, surveying the approaches to Georgetown Port, and helping with certification of the CBOB industry. There is also over £61 million of DFID expenditure committed to Guyana over the next 5 years.
The High Commissioner added that British security expert Colonel Russell Combe will be in Guyana until March 2019 to transition the reform process to one that is Guyanese-led. Minister of State Joseph Harmon, Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman, Minister of Social Cohesion Dr. George Norton and other top officials were in attendance at the event. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
The cause of a natural gas explosion in the Diamond Housing Scheme is being investigated. The CDC, EPA, Supermajor, ExxonMobil and Massey Gas are conducting tests to determine the level of the natural gas from a domestic water well which erupted Thursday night at the Diamond Grove Housing Scheme, East Bank, Demerara. Head of the Environmental Protection Agency, Kemraj Parsaram, said that the preliminary tests have revealed that there is little presence of methane in the air. Officials are urging caution, particularly with the use of fires, smoking or cooking in the surrounding homes. Check InfoHub's Facebook page for more details. We close with President David Granger's message to Guyanese on Eid al-Fitr, which marks the end of the holy month of Ramadan, a period during which Muslims perform acts of abstinence and prayer. The head of state said Eid al-Fitr reaffirms the values of perseverance and self-denial practiced during the holy month. It reminds us that our sacrifices yield personal and spiritual benefits. Eid al-Fitr is time for coming together, an occasion for us to show compassion and kindness towards our fellow citizens. Eid al-Fitr, in this regard, strengthens the human ties within our society. It promotes care and consideration towards each other. In closing, the President stated, "May the values of Eid al-Fitr continue to guide our efforts as we seek to build a nation of happy people, happy families, and happy communities." You have been watching InfoHub Recap, where we share the past week's top stories. Goodbye.